We are so excited to welcome you to the Freak Show podcast, where we center our content around the frequency of belief.
Why? Because when we overcome fear and self-doubt, basically by getting out of our own way, we can make the impossible possible.
And in this podcast, we are going to share our favorite mindset tools and life lessons that have completely transformed our lives and businesses. So without further ado, let's get freaky. Hello, and welcome to the Freak Show. I'm Sam Thurmond.
And I'm Jacqueline Steele Thurmond.
We have flipped roles today, but we are going to talk about vision and specifically holding your vision. What does that mean for you, Sam?
Okay, so on the last episode, we talked about shifting frequencies into momentum, shifting into the frequency of momentum, right? Mm-hmm. And I talked a little bit about how my visualization works. And this is a reference back to Do the Impossible by Jason Drees and basically his process. We talk about this a lot because, again, we're here, or this show is foundation is based on the frequency of belief and ultimately having the ability to shift your frequency to resonate as that person that you want to be, and how you want reality to form around you. So I basically have found that his process is the one that works best for me.
Yeah, it's definitely like changed things for you. And it's changed things for me too, for sure.
I think when I've always known that visualization is very important. I think all the top gurus and influencers and people that you follow, all of them are going to tell you that visualization is so important. And I agree, because visualization is what makes the future clear, in order for you to focus on where you're going, in order to obtain that focused direction as far as where you're going. That's what visualization does. And
we added that visualization creates a feeling, and that feeling creates a frequency. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a shortcut to getting on the frequency that you want to live on.
Right. Yeah, it's a hack, more or less.
It's a hack. It's
creating
a tool.
That frequency. So, but anyway, you asked me how I hold my vision. Mm-hmm. I do less visual and just focus more on feeling, because I know that the vision leads to the feeling. I understand that. But sometimes I felt like I would get caught up in, I didn't create that vision exactly the right way that I wanted to envision
I've gotten so caught up in that too.
And when I focus more on the feeling as opposed to the vision, I just feel like it's more effective, because I can literally feel the energetic shift taking place, and then that from there that carries on into my actions.
I can tell when you've had a really good meditation, and this man can meditate with the best of them. He can literally meditate for like hours, but you'll come out of a meditation and it's like you are walking with a glow. Mm-hmm. Truly. It's like you have this totally shifted aura and a clarity.
Yeah. Well, I think that I personally internalize things. I don't communicate a lot of my feelings a lot of times. That's something
I didn't know
over over a decade of being together has come up just a couple times. But, I've gotten better over the years, certainly with a lot of help from you, but I still am I process internally. So I think my mind is always going in a million different directions. So meditation is so good for me, because it gives me a chance to, slow down those thoughts and create space for me to be present and have creativity, kind of open the door to creativity and those sorts of things. So that's why I think that, one, I can really dive into meditation for long periods of time, and why it has such a major impact on my outlook and my attitude. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to you to hold your vision?
Yeah. So when I came up for the concept of this episode, my friends, which thank you for listening, by the way. we hope I think this episode is going to air the last week of December. So we hope you had an awesome Christmas, that you are gearing up for a happy new year and the best new year yet. And back to our topic at hand, when I was coming up with the concept for this episode of holding your vision, it really was so simple to me. I literally hold it at the forefront of my mind, because holding my vision motivates me. It lifts me back up when I can't see the forest for the trees. And it's my lighthouse when I'm struggling to know what to do next or what move to make next. And so in everything that I just said, what it does is it creates clarity for me. When I know what I'm walking toward, it makes each step and choosing each step a lot easier. And with that, like I mentioned, it creates a lot of motivation and a lot of momentum. So that's why I think it's so important for us to be holding our vision, holding it at the forefront of our minds. And the way that I personally reinforce holding my vision in the forefront of my mind is by writing my vision in my journal. And I do this pretty much every morning. And it's a concept that I stole from Rachel Hollis. I bought this journal that she had several years ago, probably 2018, 2019. And I think the title of the journal is Dreams I Made Happen. And she said the magic is to get in a state of gratitude. So write at least 5 things you're grateful for, and then write down 10 dreams you made happen. But the key here is they haven't actually happened yet, but you are tricking your psyche into believing that they have. So if your dream is to be a New York Times bestselling author, you don't say, I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. You say, I am a New York Times bestselling author. And that's where the magic is, because just like we mentioned before, when you visualize that, you get into the feeling, which allows you to get into the frequency. And so I hold my vision by writing what I'm grateful for. And then I have 11 dreams that I made happen, but I write those down every morning as part of my morning routine. And what that does is it primes my engine for the rest of the day. What am I working toward? Well, I'll tell you what I'm working toward. It's these 11 dreams that I am in the process of making a reality. And to be honest with you, some of them I've already made a reality, so I've had to change them or up-level them or expand them. But it's such a beautiful process, and it's a very simple way to hold your vision. Sam, from your perspective, why is holding your vision so important?
Well, I'll reference Wallace Wattles, and
love Wallace Wattles.
And such a, it's an old book, but so
The Science of Getting Rich.
Yeah, so much wisdom from it. The title, I feel like sometimes the title might be off-putting depending on your relationship with money.
I love
For some people. Yeah, I do too. But there was a period of time where it could have been off-putting, but it is about the science of getting rich, but it's really about the science of creating your own reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that is. So holding your and he talks about holding your vision. He talks about how your objective always, all day, every day, should be focusing on your vision and carrying that vision with you throughout the day 24/7 and referencing it as much as possible. Like, I'll have this conversation with you, but in between thoughts, I'm thinking about my vision.
And I literally carry that book in my purse. It's in my purse right now, 3 feet away from us.
Yeah. And I think it's super powerful, and it's a very good just nugget and skill to keep in mind. One of those reminders of carrying your vision with you. It's not just when you're meditating in the morning, or it's not just when you're writing in your journal before you go to bed. It's how often can you reference that vision throughout the day? And the crazy thing is, Wallace Wattles talks about this, it shapes how you approach the day. It shapes the conversations that you have. It shapes everything. And again, it's the actions that you take that ultimately start to change the reality. It's a chain reaction. But by holding that vision in your mind, that determines the actions that you take. And that determines how quickly your reality starts to shift.
Yeah. So I mentioned it in an earlier episode this month, but I recently read Arnold Schwarzenegger's new book. I think it's called 7 Tools, or it's called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life.
Sleep faster.
Yeah, he does say in it, well, you can always sleep faster. But that's beside the point. It really got me on an Arnold train, especially after watching his Netflix docuseries. He's such an inspiring human being and somebody who is a master. He is masterful at holding his vision. And he talks a lot about vision in speeches and in books. And in 2018, he gave a speech at a Power Weekend seminar that went totally viral. And I want to share some of my takeaways with you from that speech that really zeroes in on holding your vision and what holding your vision creates. And we've talked about this first one, but I'm going to fire these off. Number 1 is clarity. Holding your vision creates clarity. And clarity makes it a lot easier to keep momentum, and it makes knowing what step to take next a lot easier. Number 2, holding your vision creates purpose. Every rep you put in toward your goal will get you closer to that goal. Holding your vision creates purpose. Number 3, holding your vision is fun. It is fun. It's fun to be working towards something that you are excited about. Because even when the going gets hard, when you know it's leading somewhere you want to go, you can have fun during the process when you're working your, excuse my language, ass off, because there's no magic pill. Getting where you want to go is going to take work. Manifestation requires action, and anyone that tells you it doesn't is wrong. Number 5, why holding your vision is so important. It creates efficiency. It will help you organize your day. It will help you decipher what is a priority and what is not. It will help you do the Stephen Covey 7 habits, like put first things first. It will keep you focused. It will keep you efficient. And then the last takeaway that I got from that speech of what holding your vision creates is a better relationship with failure. There's nothing wrong with failing. In fact, it's great because you have to fail in order to climb the ladder. You have to fail in order to climb the ladder. Michael Jordan, we've talked a lot about Michael Jordan in this
same reference too.
Yeah, in this set of podcasts.
But come up with a new reference.
Well, now I know where I got it. Arnold Schwarzenegger said Michael Jordan missed 9,000 shots in his NBA career, and he's still the greatest basketball player of all time. A winner is someone who fails and gets up, fails and gets up, fails and gets up, over and over and over. You freeze when you are afraid of losing. That's so worth repeating. You freeze when you are afraid of losing. And knowing that everyone fails and it's part of the process, it's part of climbing the ladder, knowing that allows you to relax, and you will perform so much better when you are relaxed. I remember when I was a performing musician full time, if I went out onto the stage cold, without doing vocal warm-ups, without shaking it out, without making some conversation with other people, I was so much stiffer and aware of what people were thinking and doing versus when I would prime the engine, so to speak, and get out on stage and just be free with it. Mm-hmm. 2 totally different approaches and experiences, even though it's on the same stage, so to speak. So let's get specific now. What vision are you holding at this moment in time, or what visions?
Oh, you caught me in a moment when I wasn't holding my vision. But
Uh-oh.
so I think, I know. I don't know why I said I think. I know what has been consistent for me from a vision or a frame or target or whatever you want to call it has been, one, I am a master at framing. I'm a master at controlling my frequency and putting myself in the state that I want, my desired state. Sorry, took me 10 times the words to get to where I wanted to go. But I'm a master of putting myself in the state that I want to be from a frequency standpoint. That's number one. Like, I focus on that. I'm not just saying that that's what I am, right?
I love that.
That's coming through clearly.
Yeah.
Then it's an assortment of different things, but a few of my visions or the feelings that I hold, some of the pictures are us holding our morning meeting at our house with our team.
I love this one.
And just the feeling that I want to feel when we're doing that. We're not necessarily doing that yet because
we haven't moved into our house.
Moved into our house, but reality is doing its thing. And
by the time this airs, we will have moved in.
That's true. We're quickly progressing to where we will be able to have our morning meetings at that house
in our library.
And that's something that I've been visualizing for months.
Yeah.
So the reality is about to come true.
Yay.
Some other things are things like, family trips on the Mediterranean. And this is kind of a big one. We're on a family trip in the Mediterranean and we're on this big yacht and we're sitting around this table, and around this table are all of the heads of the different companies that we've started. And we're having our team meeting with all of our CEOs and CFOs of the businesses that we've started, and what that feeling looks like to be able to be in such a cool place, something that on a yacht, on something that's so far removed from maybe where we've come from. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But where we are going and what that feels like, and just down to the salt in the air and all that stuff, because it's coupled. It's, hey, we want to start all of these businesses, and I'm envisioning the people around the table, and I won't say the names, but I put people that I know or that we know in those seats that I feel like might be the right people, over time. So that progression of our businesses, but also our lifestyle and how it all, Roman and hopefully more kids kind of running around, and those sorts of things.
Yeah, we like a nice little bit of chaos in there with the kiddos.
Yeah. And so it's big things like that. And then also big, but in a different way, sleeping well. Just putting myself before I go to sleep, putting myself on the frequency of what it felt like to sleep so soundly that night. What it will feel like tomorrow morning when I wake up and I slept so soundly. And then, different monetary goals and objectives and those sorts of things. Here's another one. What does it feel like for us to be the standard for home remodels in the Arizona market and beyond?
Yeah, creating that brand that is statewide and then nationwide and then international. But I think you need to share these two others that are on our outline that you didn't share, because I feel like those are I love those visions.
Well, of course you do. But, this one is from Rob Dyrdek. He talks about having 5 years of expenses liquid. And, if you've gone down the entrepreneur route, you've had the peaks and valleys from a financial standpoint.
You've ridden the roller coaster.
Yeah, you've ridden the roller coaster, the wave, from a financial standpoint. So having that level, while, some people may judge it as not the best use of money, it resonated with me when Rob Dyrdek talked about having that security for his family. available to them. So that's a big financial one. And then having $4 million passively invested, whether it be in real estate or other business ventures, and kicking off a significant passive income from interest income outside of the businesses that we are personally invested in. And then, that list is kind of a long one, but those are just a couple that I'll share. How about you?
So I'm going to just share exactly what I write in my journal. And also, your vision has certainly inspired me too. And you've shared those things with me before. And every time you do share them with me, I feel like a breath of fresh air coming through, reigniting my own vision. So these are 11 that I write in my journal in the morning. The first is that I am in perfect and radiant health. Number 2, that I am a present and joyful wife and mother. 3, that I am spiritually connected and inspired. 4, that we own 10 plus successful businesses. 5, that we create $8.6 million per year with ease. We talked about this in Audacious Goals and why we came up with 8.6. Number 6, that we have joyful relationships. I'm such a relational person, and I want only joyful relationships in my life. Number 7, that Casa Pura, which is our home. We name all of our homes, that it is our fully paid off dream home because we want that peace of mind. Number 8, that we own our dream ranch. That is something that we share together as a goal. Did I say 8? 8 is that we own our dream ranch. Number 9 is that we own our dream home in Greece. And I generally get a little bit more specific on these. I'm giving you the generals. Number 10 is that my energy makes a difference in the world because I want to make a difference in the world for the better. And number 11, that I am a world traveler. I love to travel. It gives me so much inspiration, so much insight, such juice for all of the projects that we have going. So those are the things that I write. And then the things that you mentioned, I also hold those. And I think it's important to note that, especially as a couple, that we respect and hold each other's visions. Mm-hmm. I think this is huge. As you build a life with your partner or with your friends or family, their happiness is your happiness. In no way, shape, or form am I saying I'm responsible for my husband's happiness. I'm not. But the reality is, when he is happy, I feel happy. And that's because we're connected and we're human and we are built to have these intimate connections with one another. So the happier you are, Sam, the happier I am. And we feed off of each other's energy. So when I know that there is something you want to do or become good at or something that makes you happy, I want to cultivate that. I want to help you prioritize that in your life, even if it inconveniences me at times. And I'll give an example. Like, you really enjoy jujitsu. I love that you enjoy jujitsu. But our hang up is that we share a vehicle. We only have one car because we work from home essentially, and we work on job sites, and we just haven't needed to have two vehicles. But sometimes I have to plan most of my day around when you go to jujitsu. But at the end of the day, it's something that you want to be good at. And because you want to be good at it, I want to help you make time for it. Does that make sense? And even if that means I need to switch my schedule around so you can make a class or whatever, or you want to do a boys' trip and go to the middle of nowhere for 5 days without cell phone service, I truly, in my heart of hearts, relish that for you because it feeds you and it fills you up. I love it. And you do the same for me. You know what feeds me. And spending time with my friends is something that really feeds me. Spending time alone is something that really feeds me. Reading is something that really feeds me. And you will watch Roman while I do that, or allow me to create space to do those things that fill me up. And I think that respect for each other's visions and that respect around creating time to cultivate the energy required to carry out those visions is something that we need to all be aware of as we walk through life together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I wrote my vision, my things on here, and you wrote your things on here. I didn't even look at yours when I wrote mine on here, but I probably could have told you most of those.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them we've come up together or come up with together. And I think that is so important because you have to have alignment in relationship, especially in marriage. Because if you're working in one direction and I'm working in another and we have different expectations, that's just a recipe for growing apart. So kind of just, marriage and relationship 101, you need to align your visions. And if they're not aligned, I would recommend, doing some work around that. Because it can be a issue, or it can be such an enabler, because as opposed to having one person working on a vision, now you have two people working on a vision.
Such a catalyst.
And now you have the ability to get there twice as fast because you have twice the amount of energy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand these relationships where, and I know they're, you deal with jealousy or people who have had bad experiences and those sorts of things. So I'm not trying to judge people there, but I personally just don't understand like having such a tight grip on your partner that you can't allow them to go do those other things that fill them. I mean, I think trust is the first step. I trust you implicitly. I never have any doubt. So that's probably the biggest thing.
You know what though? And I haven't, before I was 21 when we met, but prior to that, the two other significant relationships that I had, possibly three other significant relationships that I've had, they were extremely jealous. Mm-hmm. So you are the first person that I dated that was, I'll say, confident enough to give me a wide breadth to create, to fill my cup, to experience life in the way that I desire to experience it.
Yeah. Yeah, because while we need to be aligned, to kind of caveat what I said, we need to be aligned on the major things. There are also you're going to have interests that are not my interests, and that's okay. And vice versa.
Yeah.
And you're going to need to have your girlfriends, just like I'm going to need to have my guy friends and those sorts of things, and things that I just can't fulfill in you or fulfill with you. And
things that I can't fulfill in you.
Okay.
And it's great. You don't want your partner having to fill every bucket that you have.
Right. Yeah.
It's not
that's
fair to
too
them.
much responsibility
it's way
for
too
any
much
one person.
And it's not fun either.
Yeah. So anyway, I think
piggybacking off of that, one thing I want to say before we close this out and ask our ending question is, I know that in our podcast, we are a married couple that have a business. We're doing life together, raising child together. And there may be questions, like nitty gritty questions. How did you guys do this? What do you think about this? How do you approach this? How do you solve conflict like this? And our goal with this podcast is, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, to be useful. So if you have questions, shoot us a message on social media. I'm at Jacqueline Steele. Sam is at Sam Thurman _REI, or we have at Beck and Living. Shoot us a message. We will see it and we will answer those questions because we want to be useful. We want the information that we share in these podcast episodes to be tangible and applicable. So ask your questions and we will do our absolute best to answer them.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I would add on that, not to keep adding on and not finish the episode, but you know, we want to be useful, certainly, and we want to share our experience and share what has worked for us. But you know, we talked about this before when you were doing your other podcast. Was a lot. We're talking about this is because this is what we enjoy talking about too. You know, but it's also reinforcing what we feel like we're working through in our own lives, right?
Absolutely.
So it's
absolutely
not projecting like this sense of superiority by any means,
Not
because
at all.
we are just sharing what we are dealing with, what we have dealt with, and what we are dealing with, and how we work through it. So we're always in the process of learning ourselves. But it's just, you know, it's fun I would just say that one of the themes of our relationship has always been personal growth. So I think that that's what's kind of led us here today, and we continue that pursuit. And I don't know that we'll, you know, ever stop. So
No, I hope we don't.
Okay. All right. So closing questions. What are some of the visions you have for yourself? What does it feel like to be that person? What does it feel like to be that person? Can you carry that energy with you throughout the day as the physical world transforms to meet the new you?
Thank you so much for listening to The Freak Show with Sam Thurmond and me, Jacqueline Steele Thurmond. We would love to connect with you via our website, beckonliving.com, and on social media.
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Beck and Living, and you can join our email list to receive uplifting messages, podcast and business updates, and discounts on high-frequency products just for our freaky community.
Cheers to high-frequency living.